William Friedkin really needed a hit in 1985. The master of heightened realism had dominated the early 70s with his back-to-back masterpieces The French Connection and The Exorcist. The former, which won him an Academy Award, and the latter, which was a blockbuster success, catapulted him to the front ranks of Hollywood cinema.
The winner is William Friedkin.
This is a tremendous honor, and I'm very proud to accept it. I'm proud, too, of the people that helped me to make The French Connection, the people of 20th Century Fox, the entire cast and crew.
Then came Sorcerer, an American spin on The Wages of Fear, which cost too much and opened against a little pop culture phenomenon called Star Wars. Many now see Sorcerer as his third straight masterwork, but its financial failure effectively reset Friedkin's career. There were big swings after this, such as his amiable gangster caper The Brink's Job, and his highly controversial thriller Cruising, but it was To Live and Die in L.A. which finally put him back on the map. Friedkin's return to the crime genre was even celebrated on the poster, which proudly proclaimed that the director of The French Connection was on the streets again. William Petersen plays adrenaline junkie Richard Chance, a Secret Service agent who, like Gene Hackman's Popeye Doyle, is the very definition of a loose cannon.
Right there, fella!
When not looking after presidential candidates and base jumping off bridges, Chance is in hot pursuit of counterfeiter Rick Masters, played by Willem Dafoe, who recently killed his partner.
You're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Replacing him is straight arrow John Vukovich, who does everything he can to keep his new partner in check. This is easier said than done, as Chance will stop at nothing, not even grand larceny, to get his man.
Let me tell you something, amigo. I'm gonna bag Masters and I don't give a shit how I do it.
I hear you.
The cliches present in the original novel make To Live and Die in L.A. seem painfully generic at first glance, and the pairing of a thrill-seeker with a by-the-book partner was repeated 2 years later in L.A. set Lethal Weapon.
Getting too old for this shit.
Such tropes cease to matter when filtered through Friedkin's docudrama style. His camera operator on his early films was Ricky Bravo, a man who filmed the Cuban Revolution at Castro's side. And this ad hoc cinema verite approach is further developed in a more decadent era.
I started out doing documentaries, and I learned how to make films that had sort of an induced documentary feel. If I do take two on something, it means a light fell in the shot or somebody just had a heart attack and died. You know, if they just had a heart attack, I wouldn't cut. You know, but if they died or something, you'd be forced to cut and get rid of the body. You know, but that's my view of filmmaking. Just spontaneity, I find, is the thing that's of most interest to me, where it feels like it's really happening, not like it's been rehearsed or acted.
Realism, or the next best thing, has always been Friedkin's goal. This is the director who unleashed a speeding car into New York traffic, frightened his cast by firing guns, slapped a priest to elicit a better performance, and staged an explosion with a notorious arsonist. His need for accuracy is strikingly evident in the sequence where Masters prints many thousands of dollar bills in a legal tender, all to Wang Chung's hyperbolic, effortlessly awesome, effortlessly 80s soundtrack. Dafoe goes through the real process as it existed at the time, supervised by an actual ex-con who remains nameless in the various behind-the-scenes documentaries. His talents were such that every time they heard helicopters overhead, the cast and crew assumed it was the authorities coming to arrest them.
Somebody on the set took the bills home and had a teenage son. And he and a friend took the bills and went off to a grocery store and tried to buy some Hostess Twinkies or something. And they offered the guy behind the counter a one-sided 20. Within 5 minutes, the store manager had the Treasury Department there. And they grabbed these kids. Where'd you get this money? I got it from my dad. Where'd he get it? Boom, up pops the name of our property master, Barry Betting, who was in charge of the counterfeit money.
The Secret Service got kind of upset. So about 10:30 at night, they came at my house banging on the door and said they wanted to see me downtown. Well, that one time went into 6 times. I came back to the set one day and I said, Billy, Jesus, this is the 6th time I've been down to the federal building. He says, listen, next time you go down there, tell them to either book you or let you go. And I said, what do you mean book me?
The Secret Service is a branch of the Treasury Department concerned with 2 major crimes: counterfeiting and protecting the president. I met the guy who wrote his basically autobiographical novel about his time in the Secret Service, and a lot of them are crazy. They're batshit. They're thrill seekers, and they're, in many cases, not the sort of people you want around the president at all. And that's what intrigued me about the story.
U.S. Secret Service. I'm arresting this guy for counterfeiting. Freeze! Who are you? Secret Service.
Well, I didn't have the soul of a cop, but I understood the drill, and I wanted to get the feel of what it was like, certainly to be able to reflect it accurately in something like The French Connection.
The real meat of To Live and Die is an old chestnut Friedkin had already explored in Connection: the fine line between cop and criminal.
Well, the life of a cop in homicide or robbery detail, it's extraordinarily dramatic, and very often they come down on both sides of the law. It takes a cop with the personality of a bad guy to be a good cop.
What would you do if I stopped giving you information?
I'd have your parole revoked.
This is an amoral universe, and even the righteous Vukovich will be changed by his experiences. Timid viewers who need protagonists to mirror their worldview would be better suited to the antics of Riggs and Murtaugh.
You got the wrong guy, okay? You got the wrong guy.
Yeah, you're right, I got the wrong guy, pal. You ain't my partner. You ain't even my fucking friend. In fact, let me give you a piece of advice. You better get your ass into protection, baby, because you ain't shit on the street. You understand that?
Though some were quick to write off the film as another in a long line of buddy cop thrillers, that couldn't be further from the truth. This is a neo-noir through and through, and everyone in this film has an angle, from Robert Downey Sr.'s surly superior to Dean Stockwell's shyster lawyer.
302.5.
What?
302.5. You violated section 302.5. The manual says the agents must notify the agent in charge, that's me, of all ongoing investigations. You violated this section, and I'm not going to cover your ass.
Yeah, well, I'm not asking you to.
Chance lives for the job and lives up to his name, resisting every temptation to be more sympathetic. By contrast, Masters is a pragmatic businessman with a passion for art, who only resorts to violence when pushed.
Want my paper, Jeff? I can't afford to have it circulating right now.
Now you be a printer. Go get some ink and start printing some more of that shit.
What's happening, fella?
Yeah, you asshole! God damn it!
But you're gonna have to suck on this until you give me back my paper.
All of this leads to the film's most logical finish. A gut punch so ballsy that the studio ordered a new ending to be shot. Unfortunately for them, Friedkin had final cut, and went with the most fatalistic ending possible.
Freeze it up, pal!
Going for the jugular is legendary cinematographer Robbie Mueller, who fashions a dreamlike and unfamiliar Los Angeles. The film smartly incorporates the neighborhoods, bars, dives, and nooks and crannies only a local would know. Mueller delivers moments which not only give an alien feeling to one of the most photographed cities on the planet, but drop your jaw with their beauty. Multiple careers were made off the back of To Live and Die. John Turturro and Jane Leeves, both of whom became successes in film and television, stand out in smaller roles. Petersen would be snapped up by Michael Mann only a year later for the equally seminal Manhunter. In 2000, he became a household name, and insanely rich as the star of CSI.
You ever see the movie The Exorcist?
Billy Petersen.
Oh my God.
That was his first film.
That's the first time I ever saw him.
First film. He had a walk-on as a bartender in Michael Mann's movie Thief, which he shot in Chicago.
Yeah.
But I saw him up at the Toronto Shakespeare Festival. The same guy that brought me Roy Scheider said, you got to go up and see this guy, Billy Petersen, do Streetcar Named Desire at the Toronto Shakespeare Festival. And I said, I don't want to see Streetcar. Marlon Brando owns that part.
Yeah.
Everyone who's ever done it just imitates Brando.
Yeah.
And he said, this guy does not. He is unique and original. I saw the performance. Guy was great. I met with him, offered him the picture.
You ever do any base jumping? It's great. I used to jump off garages when I was a kid. So why don't you make a jump with me sometime? Yeah? Yeah, you'd love it. It's fabulous. Once you get over the first fear, it's a piece of cake. It's the greatest feeling you'll ever have. Till you float out, man, your balls go right up into your throat.
I think I'll take a pass, partner.
Dafoe would go on to Platoon, and in the process, become one of the most respected character actors in Hollywood. His illustrious career, which has encompassed both indie dramas and comic book blockbusters, can be traced all the way back to the commercial success of L.A.
Good script, interesting character. I'm driving around in a Ferrari. I've got a beautiful house. That's one movie that I've looked back at and I thought, you look like a little kid, you know, but you're playing such a heavy character. And I remember when I was in New York when I was younger and I'd be going out to clubs, sometimes these real imposing guys would say, whoa, it's Rick Masters, you know.
I want my $600K.
I didn't have anything to do with getting Cody set up, man.
Do you know that your house is under surveillance? Do you know you're living like a fucking animal in the zoo?
I imagine that William Friedkin didn't mind ad-libbing, and I'm curious if you had the room to be able to explore different aspects of that.
I go to this guy's house, and make a long story short, he attacks me and he grabs a piece of his African art and hits me with it.
Come here.
I had heard that Friedkin actually shot rehearsals or first takes quite a few times just to keep that freshness there.
But then I get the upper hand and I shoot him. And before I delivered the final shot, and I remember I improvised a line.
18th century Cameroon. Yes? Your taste is in your ass.
No, Jesus, no!
I found afterward that that piece of art was from Billy's collection. So I inadvertently, out of ignorance, I must say, I insulted Billy's collection.
As for Friedkin, his star was brightened just enough, ensuring steady work for the next 2 decades. Interestingly, Friedkin reunited with his star, William Petersen, on an overlooked TV adaptation of 12 Angry Men, as well as 2 episodes of CSI, the first of which would open, fittingly, on a car chase.
No way I can get you $30K to make a buy. You'd hear him laughing all the way from Washington.
Shit, Masters beats the government out of that much in a day.
He always asks for big front money.
Right, and nobody ever approves it, and he stays on the street.
The limit for buys is 10 grand. I don't make the rules.
Let me try something on you.
Yeah, what?
Guy comes in Thursday. Union Station. He's gonna be carrying $50,000 cash. No muss, no fuss. Everything doesn't look like a piece of cake. We just walk away.
Jesus Christ, you gotta be
Hey,
kidding.
listen, when you came to me, I told you that I was gonna get Masters and I didn't give a shit how I did it.
What, so now you want to commit a robbery?
I wouldn't call it that.
What would you call it?
Taking down a douchebag who's trying to break the law.
Fortunately, the great chase scenes that have been done, I never saw before I did The French Connection or To Live and Die in L.A. I never saw the Buster Keaton chase scenes until many years later, or I don't think I ever would have attempted a chase scene.
Come on, man, what the fuck? There's people all over the fucking place.
And of course, there's no opticals.
No,
they
it's
had to
all physical, yeah.
do all that stuff, and they were death-defying.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, it was then, to do a believable and exciting chase scene.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the use of words. There's no dialogue anymore. It's pure images. And you've got to hold the audience with pure imagery, not unlike slapstick comedy. See, I never had any opticals either, or certainly no sequences created on a computer. But the stuff that Keaton did in the silent films, it's beyond my comprehension. I don't admire the chase in Bullet. I think Bullet is the best cop film I've ever seen. But I don't think the car chase is that great. They just cleared the streets and ran the cars over the hills, over empty streets. And that inspired me when I made The French Connection, so I did things I would never do again. I shot without permits. I put the cars in actual traffic. I would not take the same risks now, because I put people's lives in danger on a number of the films I did.
Did you know you were doing it?
I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I would not film a chase like The French Connection today. Just send a car for 26 blocks, 90 miles an hour through regular traffic.
Shit! You had me scared out of my fucking mind, man. You had me scared out of my...
I just figured out the MacGuffin. Once you hit the riverbed and you're out of this thing and you think you're out, all of a sudden two guys come barreling straight at you. And they start coming at you. Then you turn and you're out of that and some guy starts firing out the window.
One of the best chase sequences you did is in Jade.
Well, I think that's the best chase scene ever.
Which takes place at about 3 miles an hour because they're going through a parade. And then what was brilliant about it was it's how can we make this absolutely nail-biting? Well, it's not fast. It's a slow chase.
But I thought it would be equally as interesting for the third chase I filmed to do a chase of inches instead of miles.
I've read, and tell me if this is true, that you didn't want to put the car chase scene into To Live and Die in L.A. unless you could, in your mind, top The French Connection.
That's what I told the stuntmen. I said, we'll go out and shoot this, but if we don't top The French Connection, I'm not going to put it in the film.
Do you think you topped The French Connection?
Oh, yes, by far. It was far more dangerous.
We're going this way.
At the time of its release, critic Leonard Maltin famously called To Live and Die in L.A. a West Coast Miami Vice. And while it was greenlit soon after the start of Michael Mann's TV opus, Friedkin is able to do the procedural, full, noirish justice. Miami Vice is fake grit. L.A. is the real thing. Give it another chance.
What are we gonna do? We're going to an auto parts store, get a new window. If we'd have totaled it, we'd have been screwed. We'd never gotten it back to the motor pool in a day. We lucked out, Johnny. We lucked out!